All right, so today we're going to try something a little different. We're doing a deep dive into a book that's basically like a summary of another book.
Oh, wow.
Talk about efficiency, right?
Okay.
We're looking at Man's Eternal Quest by Paramahansa Yogananda, and it's essentially like a greatest hits collection of his spiritual teachings.
Yeah, you could say that. It's like if you don't have time for his whole autobiography, which is a classic, by the way.
Oh, totally. A classic but dense.
Exactly. This one gets right to the heart of things. You know, those big life questions we all have.
Like, what's the point of it all? Why am I here?
That's it. And how do we find that lasting happiness we all crave?
Right. It's like we're searching for that magic button, but where is it?
Well, that's what we're hoping to unpack in this deep dive.
Mhm.
We'll explore Yogananda's answers to those questions.
And hopefully give our listeners some tools for their own journey.
Absolutely. Because one thing that struck me right away is that Yogananda doesn't believe this search is just for a select few.
Oh, interesting.
He says every single human being is yearning for something beyond just, material success.
I can totally see that. Haven't you ever achieved a goal and still felt kind of empty inside?
All the time, it's like you did the promotion, the new car, whatever, but then what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's always that lingering question of, is this all there is?
And Yogananda says, no way. There's so much more.
Hmm.
He calls this deeper yearning the search for God consciousness.
God consciousness. Okay, that might sound a little intense to some people.
I get that.
Can you break that down a bit for us? What does Yogananda actually mean by that term?
Sure. What's interesting is that he doesn't define God in a strict way, like some religions do.
Okay, so less about dogma.
Exactly. For Yogananda, God consciousness is about experiencing that deep connection to a higher power, whatever that means to you.
So it's more about cultivating that inner connection, that sense of oneness with something bigger.
You got it. And the coolest part is he doesn't believe this is some esoteric thing reserved for saints or mystics.
Oh, good. Because I'm no saint.
He believes anyone can achieve this realization through practices like meditation and self-discipline.
Okay, that's a little more approachable. I mean, I've tried meditation here and there,
I hear ya.
but I'm definitely no masters.
What's unique about Yogananda's take on meditation?
Well, he approaches it as a science, a systematic process to quiet the mind and access a deeper level of consciousness.
It's a science. Huh.
Yeah, he often compares the untrained mind to a wild horse,
Oh, I like that imagery.
constantly pulling you in different directions.
Seriously, some days it feels like my mind is a 5-lane highway at rush hour. Thoughts just zooming every which way.
Exactly. So the question is, how do you tame that wild horse?
Okay, I'm listening. How do we do it?
Well, that's where the science comes in. Yogananda emphasizes specific techniques, each one with a different effect on the mind.
So like different tools for different situations.
Exactly, like focusing on the breath, that can help ground you in the present moment, especially if you're feeling anxious.
That makes sense. So it's like an anchor for your attention.
Exactly.
What about when you're feeling stuck or you need a boost of motivation? Is there a technique for that? Absolutely. That's where chanting or affirmations come in.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those.
Yogananda believed that using sound and intention could actually shift your consciousness.
Wow.
And even influence your reality. He even provides a powerful affirmation that I love.
Really?
It goes, I relax and cast aside all mental burdens, allowing God to express through me his perfect love, peace, and wisdom.
Okay, I'm getting chills just hearing you say that.
It's powerful stuff.
So we've got breathwork, chanting, affirmations. It's all starting to sound pretty doable. But what about all the hard stuff life throws at us? The challenges, setbacks, fear and suffering, all those inevitable parts of being human.
You're hitting on a big one there. And Yogananda doesn't shy away from that darker side of life. He actually has some fascinating insights on the nature of fear.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Lay it on me. What does he say about fear?
One of his boldest statements is that fear is an illusion. He says true harm cannot touch the soul.
Wait, hold on. I need a minute to process that. He's saying that the soul, our true self, is untouchable, even in the face of pain and hardship.
That's exactly it. And this is incredibly empowering
How so?
because it suggests that we have a source of strength within us that can't be broken, no matter what we face externally.
Wow. I'm starting to see how this all connects. So it's not about avoiding challenges, but about changing how we relate to them.
Exactly.
Cultivating that inner connection with the divine so we can face those challenges with more resilience.
You got it. And Yogananda believes meditation plays a key role in this.
Makes sense.
By calming the mind and strengthening our connection to the divine, we become less reactive to fear.
And more capable of handling whatever comes our way.
Exactly.
All right, I'm with you so far. So we've got meditation to quiet the mind, connect with the divine, and overcome fear. But what about this idea that thoughts shape reality? Is he saying we're all just walk and talk and manifestation machines?
Well, he's definitely highlighting the power of the mind to shape our experiences.
Okay, I can see that.
Think about it. Have you ever noticed that when you're in a negative thought loop, everything seems to go wrong?
Oh, tell me about it. It's like my brain becomes a magnet for drama.
That's what I'm talking about. But Yogananda flips that around.
Okay.
He says if we can cultivate positive thoughts, we can create more positive outcomes.
I mean, that's a pretty radical idea.
It is. And he wasn't afraid to challenge conventional thinking. He believed in the inherent power of the mind.
So both individually and collectively.
Exactly.
Wow. So he's giving us this huge responsibility, but also immense power to shape our lives and even the world around us.
Yeah,
That's a lot to chew on.
it is.
So where do we even begin to harness that power?
Well, that's where self-discipline comes in.
Okay.
It's about making conscious choices.
Instead of just letting our thoughts run wild.
Right. It's about aligning those choices with your values and your goals.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but honestly, sometimes self-discipline feels restricting to me.
I hear it. Yeah.
It's like, I want to be mindful, but I also want to enjoy life, you know?
Absolutely. And I think Yogananda would agree that balance is key. It's not about denying yourself pleasure. It's about finding a sustainable path.
That makes sense. So it's not about constantly chasing those fleeting pleasures,
Right.
but about cultivating a deeper, more lasting joy that comes from within.
You got it. So where does that inner joy come from? According to Yogananda, it stems from cultivating inner peace.
Inner peace.
And that's not something you find outside yourself. It's something you cultivate
Through.
through your thoughts, actions, and your connection to something greater.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like true happiness isn't about acquiring more stuff or achieving external goals. It's about cultivating that inner state of peace and contentment.
Exactly. And that takes effort.
It's not just going to magically appear.
No, it's a practice.
And Yogananda provides a roadmap for cultivating that inner peace.
Right. Through his teachings on meditation, self-discipline, and service to others.
Okay, starting to see the bigger picture here.
By aligning ourselves with our true nature, our divine essence, we can tap into that wellspring of joy and fulfillment that's always been within us.
Right. This is all starting to come together. But there's one thing I'm still a little fuzzy on. You mentioned earlier that Yogananda encourages a personal relationship with the divine. What does that actually look like in practice?
That's where things get really interesting. Yogananda's teachings can be refreshing, especially for people who might have a complicated relationship with organized religion.
Okay, how so?
He encourages a direct personal experience of the divine, free from dogma or rigid beliefs.
So it's about that heart-to-heart connection, that sense of intimacy with the divine, however you conceive of it.
You got it. It's not about just going through the motions or reciting prayers.
But having an actual conversation, a real relationship.
Exactly. And Yogananda doesn't limit this concept to any one religion.
That's right. He was all about the unity of religions, right?
Finding that common thread of truth that runs through all spiritual traditions.
So he saw the beauty and wisdom in all the different paths.
He did. He drew parallels between the teachings of Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, and other great spiritual masters.
And he believed they all pointed to the same core truths.
Exactly. Love, self-mastery, and the realization of our inherent divinity.
Wow. Okay, that's a beautiful perspective. It's like we're all climbing the same mountain,
Yeah.
just taking different paths.
I love that analogy.
So his teachings are really about offering tools and insights that anyone can use on their own journey. I love that. So to recap, we've got this quest for God consciousness, the power of meditation, the idea that thoughts shape reality, and this emphasis on a personal relationship with the divine. That's a lot to take in.
It is.
But I'm starting to see how it all weaves together.
Me too.
But how do we actually put all of this into practice in our everyday lives?
That's the million-dollar question, and that's where we'll dive in next.
Okay, I'm ready for part 2.
We'll explore some specific ways to integrate Yogananda's principles into your daily life. No matter what your background or belief system is, stay tuned.
So we've covered some big ideas from Yogananda, the search for something more, meditation, that personal relationship with the divine. But now for the real challenge, how do we actually put all of this into practice?
Right. It's easy to get inspired by these ideas, but how do we integrate them into our busy lives?
Exactly. It's one thing to read about inner peace in a serene garden. It's quite another to actually try and find it when you're dealing with deadlines and distractions and, just the chaos of daily life.
Oh, I hear that. And Yogananda understood that. He wasn't some out-of-touch mystic living in a cave. He actually gave some pretty practical advice.
Okay, good. Because I need practical.
Me too.
So what are some of his tips for, you know, keeping it real?
Well, he talks a lot about self-discipline.
Okay.
But for him, it wasn't about being harsh on yourself or denying yourself pleasure. It was more about making conscious choices.
Choices that align with your values and goals.
Exactly. It's like that moment when you hit snooze for the 5th time.
Oh, yeah. I know that moment well.
You know, getting up and meditating would make you feel amazing.
Right?
But it's so much easier to just stay in bed.
It is.
That's where self-discipline comes in. It's that little voice saying, hey, get up. You know, this is good for you.
You know what? That really resonates with me.
Yeah.
I find that when I make those small, conscious choices throughout the day,
Like what?
like choosing a healthy meal instead of fast food,
Oh, yeah.
or taking a few minutes to meditate instead of, doom scrolling on social media,
Those little things add up.
they do. I feel so much better in the long run.
It's like you're building up that self-discipline muscle.
I like that analogy. And it really is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly.
So we've got self-discipline meditation. What else does Yogananda recommend for creating a more fulfilling life?
Well, he places a huge emphasis on service to others.
Okay.
He believed that true happiness comes not just from focusing on our own needs, but from contributing to something bigger.
I've always felt that helping others gives me a sense of purpose. Like I'm actually making a difference. But is that what he meant by service?
Yeah, I think so. It doesn't have to be some grand, selfless act.
Okay, good. Because I'm not saving the world today.
It can be as simple as lending a listening ear to a friend, or volunteering in your community.
Or even just holding the door open for someone.
Exactly. Even the smallest acts of kindness can create a ripple effect.
I love that idea. That we don't have to wait for some big opportunity to make a difference.
We can start right now with the people around us.
In those everyday interactions.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing is serving others not only helps them, but it brings us joy too.
It's a win-win.
It is.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we're all connected.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those times when you're feeling discouraged or burnt out?
Mm.
When you're questioning this whole spiritual journey thing, what does Yogananda say about those darker moments?
Well, he acknowledges that the spiritual path isn't always easy.
I mean, that's realistic.
It is. There will be ups and downs, moments of doubt and discouragement, but he says never give up on the search.
That's good to hear.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I put so much pressure on myself to have it all figured out, to be, perfectly peaceful all the time.
I get that.
It's a relief to know that it's okay to struggle.
It is. It's all part of the process.
And those challenges are opportunities for growth.
Exactly. You can't fully appreciate the light without experiencing some darkness.
I like that. It's like those darker moments give us a chance to deepen our understanding and develop compassion for ourselves and others.
And to appreciate the moments of joy even more.
Exactly. And Yogananda says to turn to our spiritual practices, especially during those difficult times.
Right.
To use meditation prayer affirmations, to reconnect with that inner strength and peace.
It's like having a toolkit to draw from when things get tough.
Speaking of tools, we've been talking a lot about a personal relationship with the divine. I'm still wrapping my head around how to cultivate that kind of relationship.
It's a journey.
It is?
But Yogananda suggests approaching the divine with an open heart and a willingness to listen.
Okay.
He talks about talking to God as a friend, a confidant, a loving presence that's always there for you.
I've always felt a little awkward about praying, like I wasn't sure what to say. But seeing it as a conversation with a friend makes it so much more approachable.
Me too.
Yeah.
And Yogananda believed that this relationship with the divine is the ultimate source of happiness.
Wow.
It's about cultivating that connection, that sense of intimacy and love that can carry you through anything.
That resonates with me. It's like we're not just striving for some future state of enlightenment. We're experiencing the joy of that connection right now.
That's it. And Yogananda reminds us that we can access this connection anytime, anywhere.
It's not limited to a specific place or time.
Nope. It's available through our breath, our thoughts, our actions.
Even through our connection to nature.
Yes. And through our relationships with others.
It's like that treasure we've been seeking has been within us all along.
Exactly. We just need to remember how to access it.
So we've got this inner treasure, this connection to the divine, and we cultivate it through meditation, self-discipline, and service to others. But Yogananda also talks about the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
The interconnectedness of all beings.
Absolutely. He believed that we are all part of one universal consciousness, one divine family. And that everything we do, every thought, every emotion, has a ripple effect on the world around us.
So it's not just about our own individual enlightenment.
Right. It's about contributing to the collective good, creating a more loving and peaceful world.
I love that vision.
Yeah.
But let's be real. The world can feel pretty chaotic and divided right now.
It can.
How do we even begin to create that kind of positive change?
Yogananda believed that true change starts with each individual.
So taking responsibility for our own thoughts and actions.
Exactly. And radiating that positivity outward.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. We can't just wait for someone else to fix the world.
Mhm.
We have to be the change we want to see.
You got it. And as more and more individuals choose love over fear, compassion over judgment.
We'll see a shift in the collective consciousness.
Exactly. It's like each of us is a tiny spark of light.
And together those sparks can ignite a flame that can illuminate the darkness.
Beautiful imagery, and that's the essence of Yogananda's message. We are all capable of making a difference.
We all have the power to create a better world, starting with ourselves.
Exactly.
So it's about cultivating that inner peace and joy, and then letting it radiate outward, touching everyone and everything around us.
You got it. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious, what's resonating with you the most so far?
You know what's really hitting home for me is this idea that we're not alone on this journey, that we
No.
have this incredible support system,
Like what?
both within ourselves and through our connection to the divine. It's like even when things get tough,
Yeah.
even when I doubt myself or the path I'm on, there's this loving presence that's always there, guiding me, supporting me, cheering me on.
That's beautiful. And I think that's a perfect transition into our next segment,
Okay.
where we'll explore Yogananda's teachings on meditation and self-realization in more detail.
Right.
We'll dive into specific practices that can help us connect with that inner source of strength and uncover our true potential.
Sounds good. Let's do it. Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into man's eternal quest. We talked about Yogananda's philosophy, his big ideas, but I really want to dig into the practical side of things, especially his teachings on meditation. I've tried meditating before,
Me too.
but I'm still a little mystified by it. What makes Yogananda's approach unique?
Well, he presents it not as some mystical practice, but as a tool for everyday living.
A tool.
Yeah. Remember, he called it a science, a systematic way to train the mind.
Right. He even compared the untrained mind to a wild horse, pulling us in all directions.
Exactly.
Like, let's be honest. That's my brain pretty much all the time.
Uh-huh.
So how do we tame that wild horse? What techniques does he recommend?
He offers a variety of techniques, each with a different purpose, like focusing on the breath. That's a great starting point.
Okay?
It anchors your attention in the present moment.
Especially when your mind is racing.
Exactly.
Like hitting the pause button on all that mental chatter.
That's a good way to put it.
But what about when you're feeling stuck, creatively blocked, or just lacking motivation? Any techniques for those times?
Absolutely. That's where chanting or affirmations come in.
Oh, yeah. We touched on those earlier.
Yogananda believed that using sound and intention could actually shift your consciousness and even influence your reality.
Wow.
Remember that affirmation we talked about? I relax and cast aside all mental burdens, allowing God to express through me his perfect love, peace, and wisdom.
You know, I've been trying that one out,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really powerful.
Isn't it?
There's something about repeating those words, especially when I'm feeling stressed,
Yeah.
and it creates this sense of calm.
That's exactly what Yogananda intended. He believed affirmations could reprogram our subconscious mind.
So we can break free from limiting beliefs.
Exactly. And cultivate more positive thoughts.
Okay, I see the practical application here. It's like we can use these techniques to actively shift our mindset.
Instead of just letting our thoughts control us.
Exactly. So we've got breathwork affirmations, chanting. What about the actual experience of meditation? What can someone expect to feel?
Yogananda emphasizes that meditation is a journey, not a destination.
Okay,
It's not about reaching some perfect state of bliss every time you sit down.
good, because that sounds intimidating.
It is for a lot of people. He says it's about showing up consistently, even when your mind is a mess.
So it's not about the duration, but the consistency.
Exactly. And as you practice, you'll start to notice subtle shifts. Maybe you'll feel calmer, more centered.
More present.
Yes. You might have moments of clarity or insight that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
I can see how that would be so valuable in our busy world.
It's like creating a sanctuary within yourself, a place of peace and stillness.
I love that.
Yeah.
And as you go deeper, Yogananda suggests you might even experience those higher states of consciousness.
That connection to something greater.
God consciousness.
Exactly.
So this isn't just about stress reduction. It can actually lead to a spiritual awakening.
That's what Yogananda believed. He saw meditation as a path to self-realization.
Self-realization. Okay, I got to ask, what does he mean by that? Is that like enlightenment?
It's about recognizing that you're not just this limited ego. It's about waking up to the truth that you are part of something much greater.
Something infinite.
Yes. And Eternal Yogananda believed this realization is the source of true happiness.
So it's not about external achievements, but about an internal transformation.
Exactly. A shift in consciousness that allows you to experience your true nature.
Wow. Okay. That's profound.
Yeah.
And he believed everyone has the potential for this.
He did. It's not reserved for a select few. It's our birthright as human beings.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture now. Meditation isn't just a relaxation technique. It's a path to awakening.
To experiencing the fullness of who you really are.
This is all so inspiring, but I also feel a little overwhelmed. Like, where do I even begin?
Yogananda reminds us that this isn't a solitary journey. We have support.
Support from?
From the divine, from our spiritual teachers, from a community of like-minded seekers.
It's like we have a whole team behind us.
Exactly. He encourages us to find a teacher or a community that resonates with us and to lean on them for support.
That makes a lot of sense. We don't have to do this alone.
No, you don't. And he also stresses trusting the process. There's no need to rush. Just keep practicing, keep learning, keep growing.
Well, I'm feeling pretty inspired after this deep dive into man's eternal quest. It's given me so much to think about.
Me too. Yogananda's teachings are so timeless and relevant.
They really speak to the heart of what it means to be human.
They do.
So to our listener, if you're feeling drawn to these ideas, we highly recommend checking out Man's Eternal Quest. It's a powerful guide on the path to self-realization.
And remember, as Yogananda taught, thoughts shape reality. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we invite you to consider, what kind of world are you creating with your thoughts?
That's a great question to ponder. And with that, we'll leave you to your own exploration. Until next time.